What's up guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll show you how to make this twist dress. So let's get started. So first you fold your fabric into two places and then you take the length of your dress. For mine I have 41 inches and then I added 2 inches for seam allowance. And next you take your shoulder measurement. So for my shoulder measurement I have 8 inches, which is half of my shoulder measurement. To take the bust measurement, you divide your bust measurement by 4. So I have 9 inches. I'll just add 1 inch. I may need it or I may not need it. Depends on how stretchy your fabric is. And then to get the waist measurement, I'll take 16 inches. I'll just mark it here. And to get the hip, I'll take 24 inches. So I'll rule a line on my waistline and then on my hip line. You divide your waist measurement by 4 inches or by 4. I have 8 inches. And then your hip measurement, you divide it by 4. I have 10.5. And then on the bottom, I'll just use hip measurement minus 1 inch. So I have 9.5. So I'll ignore this extra 1 inch I put here. So I'll use my 9 inches bust measurement. And then on the shoulder, I'll take my neck line. I'll use 2.5 inches for the width. And then 1.5 inch for the depth. And then I'll draw a curved line here. Like so. So it's 2.5 inches wide and 1.5 inches deep. So here's my waistline, my bust line, and here's my hip waistline, sorry, and here's my hip line. And then I'll draw it down to the end of the dress. And then on the armhole, I'll use 1 inch for the armhole curve. So I'll make a curved line here, like so. And then just draw this line down so you can see. And then take my shoulder slant by 1 inch down to this place. And then I think I can cut. So you go ahead and cut. Mark your waistline so you don't miss it. Go ahead and notch the waistline. Go ahead and pin it together so it doesn't move around. So next you just go ahead and fold the bottom part to the top part. And then you stop at the waistline. I just fold it like this, and then I'll stop at the waistline where I notched, and then I'll go ahead and pin, or I'll just clip it. Just Go ahead and pin it. And then you set the back bodies aside. To cut the front bodies, you go ahead and fold your fabric into two. You add 7 inches on the width, and then you add 12 inches on the length. Then you place your back bodies on the front bodies like so. You place it in a slanted form. After placing your back bodies in the slanted form, you go ahead and mark it on the front part. So you mark it and then mark this part like this. And then stop here. So for the neckline, you just go ahead and mark it out like this, and then stop on the waistline. So here's the waistline. I have about 8.5 inches or 8 inches. So here's the waistline. You go ahead and just mark out a V line down to your waistline. I'll cut it to show you. So here's my front neckline. So after marking out the top bodies, we're going to do the same for the bottom part. So I'll go ahead and just pull this to the top so you can see the bottom part. And then I've gone ahead to pin the sleeves to the bottom part. So you go ahead and place the bottom part in a slanted form like this, and then you place it 1 inch away from the waistline, and then you mark it out like we did for the top part. You mark it out to the end, and then you place it in this straight now so you can mark the bottom. So I'll show you when I cut, and then you draw a curved line here like this. So you cut across the marked line. After cutting, this is what you have. So I'm just going to go ahead and straighten this neckline up. So this is what you have for the front bodies after cutting. So here's the front bodies and the back bodies. So here's my back bodies and here's the waistline. So to cut the front bodies, you just fold your fabric and you fold it a bit bigger, and then you fold your back bodies on the waistline. You take out the bottom part, and then you place it like this on the front bodies, and then you mark out the top part, and you use this line to represent the waistline, and then you just mark out the V-neck on the front. To mark out the bottom, you just fold the top part inside, and then you place it like this, 1 inch away from this line, or 2 inches, 1 or 2 inches away, and then you place it like this, and then you mark it out also. You mark out the bottom part, and then you can also just straighten this up to get this. Sorry, my lines are not straight. And then you go ahead and cut. So here is my front bodice and here's my back bodice. So you go ahead and cut the front bodice into 2, and then you take the pins off from the back bodice. Next, you go ahead and sew the shoulders together with the right sides facing each other. After joining the shoulders together, you go ahead and hem the center fold down to the neckline. So you start hemming from here, you roll it with at least 1/2 inch. You sew it down to the neckline and then down to the other side, to the other center fold. So after hemming this part of the dress, we'll go ahead and twist the dress. So you take one part, you move it over to this side, and then you take this part, the right side, and you move it over to the left side. So you take this part and this part, and you go ahead and pin it together. I'm pinning the right sides together. You take this edge and you pin it to the other edge. You do it right sides facing each other. And then you go ahead and pin the entire waistline. You do the same for the other side. You pin it and then you go ahead and sew it together. So you're going to sew from inside out, and the same thing for the other side. You sew from inside out. So I'll come back and show you after. So I'll repeat the process again. First, you take the left side, you move it over to the right side, and then you take the right side, you move it over to the left side, and then you pin the edges together. So after sewing this part, your dress is going to look like this. And then next thing is to join the sides of the dress. So to join the sides of the dress, you go ahead and pin the notched part of the waist on the back bodice. You pin it to the front waistline. And then you go ahead and start sewing from the sleeve. You sew it down to the end of the dress. And you do the same for the other side. So make sure you match the front waistline to the back waistline together. So next, you go ahead and try the dress on if there will be need for adjustment. For mine, I'll need to trim off at least 1 inch from the bottom just to make it even. Lastly, you go ahead and hem the sleeves, and then you hem the bottom of the dress, and that's it. So here's the twist dress, and it's my first time of making the dress, and I think it came out really well. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you've not. I love you for watching. Thank you.